Hey everyone, welcome back to Relentless Talk Radio. This is segment 2. This is the art and fashion segment today. Usually segment 2 is health and fitness, but today we're moving right to art and fashion. And I'm super excited because I get to talk with Loren Aragon of ACONAV a little longer than expected because we had a cancellation. As I was saying in my first episode, Tom Hatton of Mountainside Fitness was scheduled today, and we needed to move his interview to a different time given the changes in the gym structure here in Arizona. So I'm super excited, though, because that gives me more time to talk to Loren. So, Loren, tell everybody who you are and tell everybody about what ACONAV is and what your mission is, and just tell us more.
Sure. Well, first of all, kuatsi hopa kay tao hopa way.
Yay.
Kay tao hopa way hopa tuwechje doshina mehak ak este kutansta ako mesta. Hello, everyone. My name is Loren Aragon. I am owner and designer of ACONAV. ACONAV is cultural designs embodied in timeless elegance, idea to evoke empowerment. ACONAV is a women's couture fashion brand based out of Phoenix, Arizona, which is a Native American-owned fashion brand specializing in the celebration of the strength and empowerment of women through fashion. Really happy to be here and talk a little bit more about the topic Dream On. Been through quite a couple careers, I guess. Started out as a mechanical engineer. Did that for about 12 plus years in the Phoenix area, and always had art in my background, and kind of journeyed through several different art forms, such as drawing, illustration, which is kind of what was my core art discipline, and progressed on into jewelry making, sculpture, and eventually into fashion design, which is basically what my dream has become going forward.
You know, as you're talking, I'm looking at the images that you popped into Dropbox, and I didn't have a chance to get them loaded, and I'm just in awe. I'm just in awe of the work that you're doing. And the first thing that came up for me is engineering and art to me are the same thing.
Really, they really are.
It's all organizing information, right?
Yeah. I like to call it organized chaos, but it's really, for me, engineering I love engineering. It really entices me to use my brain and really, challenges me to figure things out. And I really didn't think that art and engineering could coexist, really, especially in fashion. But I'm really realizing that fashion includes a lot of those things that I learned in my engineering discipline. So I still apply a lot of what I've learned to that, and I'm really happy for that. So it's just the change from doing a lot of working with a lot of hard edges and solid materials, going into more curvatures, organic shapes, and working with more softer materials. So there was a change, and it was something I wasn't ready for. But for everything that I've done, I've always jumped into learning about what that is before it actually took control of me. So, but kind of how I really approach a lot of the things that I do. But for the most part, engineering again is still a large part of what I do in fashion.
Well, we're looking at the white dress. Number one, I can totally see the native influence.
Right.
It's lovely, but also I can see the architectural engineering influence as well, because that could just as easily be a building as it could be a dress.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, architecture. I've learned that a lot of great couture designers started out as something other than that. They were architects, I can't remember her name. Yang, last designer, last name was Yang, but she was
videographer.
I'm sorry?
Videography, they're producers.
Yeah.
Scott Warren, Scotty Yang, aka Scotty Yang.
Oh, yeah. No, but there's in Seattle, there's a different designer. She does a lot of structural design in her dressmaking, and Hughes at Ego. She was actually in the sciences as well. I believe architecture as well.
My cousin Lisa is one of my biggest fans. She's my big cousin in Vermont.
Okay.
Her husband is an engineer, and he worked for GE forever. He's like one of those. Vera Wang is what she's saying. There you go.
Vera Wang. Well, Lulu Yang. That's what it is. But yeah, I learned.
Her husband's saying that engineering is the application of science.
Yeah, totally.
100%, right?
Yeah, totally. It's problem solving for a lot of things, and I definitely apply that structure of problem solving to what I do in fashion. How is this going to go together? How are these materials going to coexist on the same design? And that black and white one was actually one I did for Walt Disney World, which is actually on display at Epcot Center, and was inspired by Acoma Pueblo pottery art, which is what we're mostly known for where I'm from. And a lot of my designs really kind of are those black and white monochrome designs that are stories in the art that we make and placed onto something more movable, a living work of art, so to speak. And what we're looking at now is a red and black gown that I designed for Arizona's only Tony Award voter, Colleen Jennings Roggensack, who's also the Vice President of Cultural Affairs at ASU and the Director of the Gamage. She wore my dress to the Tonys on the red carpet last year. So this was a huge thing for us, and really grateful to the support from the Phoenix community to jump on board with who we are and to believe in us and what we stand for.
You know, it's funny. I didn't realize who that was when I put it up there, but she's a perfect person for the next question to have up there on the screen while we're talking, because we talked pre-interview about strong women in the Native American culture. In particular, you are a Acoma Pueblo tribe, right? Is that is that the right way to say it?
Yes.
You know, crazy white girl from Vermont, right?
Yeah, you got it right.
So I heard her speak at the Central Women of Phoenix about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
It was when Hamilton was here. And she is just a really super dynamic, smart, lovely, powerful human being who happens to be a woman.
Absolutely.
She's really, really dynamic. And we were talking earlier about why it's so important to have dreams. It's because having dreams make you dynamic. And there's a woman that's got dreams. And not only does she have dreams, but she's actualizing them. I love that you designed for her. That's awesome. Because it really does speak to one of your key goals, which is which is the next question is, why do you do it? Why do you do this?
You know, I do it to, one, create awareness to the Native American culture, which is kind of been left in the shadows with a lot of designers that are more famous. And I unknowingly went into fashion not knowing about appropriation and cultural appropriation. And I really just wanted to be able to prove that we as natives or artists can be on this very same stages as Alexander McQueen, as Dior. So I wanted to have our own voice and have a way for us to tell our own stories and use the things that were being misused and talking about that a little bit better, you know, from what it means to us. Obviously, there are some things that are more sacred to us that we can't put on the runway or really talk about more, just, you know, because we want to protect that. We want to keep that to us, and, you know, that means a lot more to us than anything. So that was really one of the key reasons why, but also to really emphasize the fact that we believe in the matrilineal system, and that has sort of been diluted through the centuries, and that it's really what still stands as the foundation to our culture. And a lot of people have kind of forgotten that. And we don't respect or look up to our women as we should have been, based on what we were told to believe in. So I really wanted to get those ideas from my culture about the strength and the empowerment of women, the respect for women, and put those ideas into the garment. And so when the woman wears those garments, she feels that same empowerment, that same strength that comes from the women from my culture, and really understand her own strengths and her own power to be who she wants to be something better than people think she is.
I just love that. You know, I'm Irish and Italian. The Italian side, my cousin Lisa's here, so she'll chime in and totally agree with me. We are super strong women. And, you know, we weren't taught growing up that being old was ugly. The African-American people in my town were the wealthy people. who were really actualized and were real go-getters. So I grew up in a world where people of color and women of all ages were respected and lifted up. My uncle had a dressmaking company in Rutland, Vermont. It was the #1 employer in Rutland, Vermont for many years. My first boyfriend's dad was a presser there. And, we grew up around my uncle making dresses for mothers of the bride. And so the beauty of an older woman was really, I didn't even realize it until you and I started talking. My uncle was making dresses for mothers of the bride. So it was all about having the older woman be beautiful. And my grandmother, let me tell you something, the most beautiful woman on the planet. And how she could eat a pear or an apple, my cousin's listening to me, and I'm sure she can relate, just how she sliced that pear was beautiful. To me, growing up, beauty was not so much about this external human meat suit that we're in. It was about how you carried yourself and how you wore your clothes and putting your lipstick on and stepping into your skin with confidence and having a dang opinion and not being afraid to share it.
Absolutely.
Art was, my cousin Lisa said the art was a cutter. I thought he was a presser. My dad was a presser. So art was my ex boyfriend's name was his dad's name was Art, ironically. So I love that you're bringing out how clothing brings out a woman's strength, because I was listening to Tony Robbins talk about shoes yesterday, and he was saying, he was talking about the founder of Zappos. He was saying, a woman's in a different kind of power depending on what kind of shoes she's in. So whether you're in flip-flops or stilettos, it changes how you are. And I think it's the same way with a dress. And
absolutely,
are your dresses, because I can't wait to wear one. I'm just saying. I'm going to be doing some type of thing for LLS Gala next year, and I'm hoping that you win it, because I just love these. These are awesome. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that little competition, and yeah, totally. Again, just the ideas of women. Just I think I want to say European culture just really kind of ripped through a lot of women to look a certain way. And, we embrace any body type. I work on a made-to-order basis, so everything I put down the runway can be made to whoever wants to wear that. And every design for me has a story. Everything has a background to it.
So tell me the story of these pieces that we're showing here.
So these pieces were, I like to call bold elegance. Our culture is mostly known for its pottery art, and a lot of the work that's done on the pottery is really fine line, fine detail. And for me, it was always this little thing about, as a kid, was just to lay in front of or sit in front of a piece of pottery and just kind of stare at it really close and really see the details of each piece, and just wonder, what's the story that was being told? What was happening in this artist's life at that time? So this was kind of a magnification of those designs to be worn. And a lot of pieces that I make are, again, just based on the pottery art, and the black and white is what I wanted to be showing in a lot of these. Of course, the red, which is becoming more and more of a symbol in our culture, to bloodline, for one, and again, for raising awareness to missing and murdered Indigenous women, things that we can speak to that are definitely being where more and more women are taking action to be leaders in. So we really encourage that, and we want to keep pushing that forward. Again, a lot of people are breaking beyond the boundaries of what men and women can do, or were told they could or couldn't do. So women are really stepping up to the plate a lot more to do what a man can do, and even beyond. And that's really what we want people to understand, is to embrace that strength. You're bigger, and you have not realized all your strengths. We want you to definitely look deeper, dig deeper, find that inspiration from yourself, believe in yourself to be something more.
I love that. I love this red dress. This is just, and when you're talking about pottery, I have a lot of pottery in my new home, and that's native inspired, and it's really lovely. I love the lines. I love the piece on the top that's really open.
Thank you.
So what do you think I also wanted to mention, this is at Phoenix Fashion Week.
Mm-hmm. Yes, totally. Yeah, these Phoenix Fashion Week we discovered was in our backyard, and another reason why I really wanted to be into fashion was there's really not a big Native American presence on that runway, and I wanted to be a part of that, so I could again, it's in our backyard, and this is probably Southwest is known to have the biggest population of Native American people. So
and this actually is probably a talking stick, right?
Yes, Talking Stick Resort.
It's a Native American business.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. On a reservation, and it blows your mind, right?
Yeah, totally. Right. And that's what's my shock. Like, right. Why aren't there more natives on this runway? 100%. So definitely wanted to step it up and be a part of that somehow. And thanks to Brian Hill for reaching out to me and bringing me on board. And that's really what my brand is based on, a lot of their teachings and how it's helped me progress through that. But this dress in particular was one of Colleen's favorites as well. But she also loved a longer gown, which is a longer white gown with the same details. And that's how we married those two concepts together for her.
I heard this all day long. It's lovely.
The award dress. So
on July 7th, we have Herman Plank coming in to talk about how Phoenix Fashion Week and Brian Hill, a lovely man who's just worked his buttola off to make Phoenix Fashion Week what it is. Okay, they're pivoting with purpose and having an online fashion event. If you Google Phoenix Fashion Week, the dates are there, or you can come back here to Relentless Talk Radio on July 7th on episode segment 2 and listen to what Herman has to say about what they're doing. Herman's a member of the board, super dynamic guy. Mm-hmm. We've been chatting back and forth for years, and I don't know how he ended up talking on Facebook. I'm like, hey, I got an opening on the 7th. You want to come on? And he said yes. So I'm super excited about that. So come back and hear what he has to say.
Yeah, we'll actually be a part of that on July 11th is kind of the date.
There you go. So it's July 11th. So everybody, go ahead and stalk Relentless Talk Radio for more information about it, or just go ahead and Google Phoenix Fashion Week, and there's an event in there that will tell you more about the event. So, what's the biggest lesson you think you've learned in business, Loren? I mean, how long have you been in business now? Would you say?
I've been doing fashion for a little over 4 years now.
And what's the big lesson so far?
The biggest lesson so far is to be persistent.
Dang it! Relentless.
Persistence definitely pays. As far as, the way I was brought up is I always, well, not brought up, but I guess what I always heard was, and always saw was people kind of shying away from their dreams at the first sign of failure. You really can't let that happen. Success doesn't come that easy. And
everybody would be
at the hard way. Yeah, absolutely. So you really have to put the work in, but it's constant work. It's just persistence. You always have to try something new. You always have to, in your ideas of being dreaming, staying focused and staying excited. You have to find those things that keep you focused and keep you excited. That's what persistence is for me, and that's what I learned a lot. And sometimes things don't work, but you have to understand why it didn't work so that you could try it again to get you past that part where you were stuck at.
I was just listening to the founder of Spanx talk about how she got into Neiman Marcus. Have you ever heard that story?
Yeah.
People are like, how'd you get into Neiman Marcus? And she said, she simply called him. You know what I mean? She didn't know the rules, so she didn't know you're supposed to go to a bunch of trade shows and kiss butt. She just called me and said, listen, I got this thing that's going to save, the world, basically. I don't know how she worded it great. She just did a great interview with Tony Robbins, which if you Google Tony Robbins Spanx, it's a really great interview. I loved how persistent she was. One of the things that she did was she said to the lady, could you please come to the bathroom with me? And can you imagine being at Neiman Marcus with this like totally pristine woman who her pen and her shoes and her earrings match, right? And she's like, "What?" She's like, "Come! I want to show you before and after Spanx." So she went in with white pants. Okay, the kiss of death for most women. I don't care how in shape you are. Okay, I don't care how porcelain your butt is. It is not going to look good in white pants. I don't care who you are. Right? I mean, your fashion designer. Can we talk?
I hear it a lot.
So she went in and she put the white pants on with the panty lines, and then she came out with the Spanx on, and she was like, "Okay, we'll put them in 7 stores." And then what she did was she went to all 7 stores without permission and sold.
Wow.
And she also called everyone she knew in every town where they were and paid them to go buy Spanx. because she so believed that if she got Neiman Marcus to really make a commitment, that other stores would follow. And now she's I don't know if she's a billionaire, but she's a multi-millionaire.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you really do have to be persistent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of the deal.
Yeah, there's a market for everything. That's what we learned. And a lot of people, when they hear about me, the Native American fashion designer or native fashion in general, they think it's just for natives, and that's really what we wanted to break beyond that limited idea. It's really not like it's fueled by our culture, which can be worn by anyone, and it's those ideas that I always believed were ideas that unified us with the rest of the world, and we're just people didn't know about them. And so I'm really hoping fashion and what I do kind of excels that and again creates awareness to who we are and our existence.
So we touched on the dreaming thing in this conversation a little bit, but why do you think it's so important to have a dream?
I think for me, dreaming was always dreaming about something that was impossible, and it was always encouraged to me to dream about what I wanted to do or who I wanted to be, but they never really told you how to get it. And really, I had to learn that myself. We can dream all we want, but it's about getting up out of bed and actually doing the things that you don't want to do. And the way I like to think of it is living through the nightmare so that you can live in your dream.
100%. That's what I talked about on my Monday Health and Fitness Mindset, was that you can talk about being healthy all day long, but if you don't get up and actually move your body, it ain't going to happen. You know what I mean? Right. Like it doesn't matter whether it's a fitness goal or it's a business goal or it's something else. Right. You've got to actually put legs. And one of the big things I said, and I've gotten so much feedback, it's funny, in DM, like people have private messaged me and said, yeah, not putting stuff in my calendar, dude, I totally don't do that. Like if you don't put your dreams in your calendar, like I'm going to go down to Fabric and work on my stuff today. And then I'm going to meet with somebody about my stuff. And then I'm going to go do something else about my stuff. And if you don't do that, then the dreams don't happen.
Right.
You sit on a bar stool all day long and talk about the stuff you're going to do at some point. But if you don't actually do something, it's never going to happen.
Right. And it's to me, it's also the little things are also dreams, your little goals just for the day even. You want to get something done. Well, then do it, get it done. But to dream, I think in your 5 key points to dreaming, I think staying focused is definitely why it's important.
Oh yeah, because it's
right. It just helps us, what do we want to become? And if you keep that dream alive by doing those little things that help to get you there, then you realize a lot of the other things, how excited you really are about it, and how it makes you realize how hungry you are to go get it. And you do a lot of sacrifice and everything to get there. And when you get to that point where you're starting to eat more at it, so to speak, you start to understand that you're growing. I think I'm at that point of growing where, I'm definitely still excited about what I'm doing. I'm definitely focused on my end goal, which is to hopefully have a shop somewhere to where I can do all this stuff and quit working out of my home. And then just staying hungry, just finding that new thing that just I want to feed on, that will drive my brand in the right direction. And that part is helping me grow. I'm understanding more things about myself, about the business, and just I want to do those things and make ACONAV become bigger. What
do you think that COVID's actually definitely affected what we're going through right now, right? So right. I mean, like if you didn't have the dream in place pre-COVID, it'd be hard to stay hungry in this environment, wouldn't it?
Totally, I agree, and it's again, I think you'll find ways around it. I'm looking at COVID COVID-19, all the pandemic things that are going on is just a challenge, and it definitely halted the things that we were doing for maybe a couple weeks. But our goal is it's right there, and we want to continue at it. So we just couldn't say we're gonna stop here. That's it. This is the end of the line. No, we
have to pandemic. What's a big deal?
We have to find different wrinkles around it, or actually, it actually helped us step back a little bit and reassess. Where are our weaknesses, or what can we work on now? And we realized that we don't have a really big online presence. Our biggest sales come from in-person shows that we go to. So let's ramp up the online business and see what we can do there.
So do me a favor, tune in on Thursdays. Brandy Lawson and I are talking on Thursdays at every first and third Thursday at 9 o'clock about, it's called Digital Evolution, Entrepreneur's Guide to Evolving Online. And you can go to the youtube.relentlesstalkradio.com and see all the past episodes. I'm a couple episodes behind. I have to get them loaded to YouTube. But they'll be update by the end. That whole playlist will be up to date by the end of the week. But you can always go to Relentless Talk Radio and see them there. There's a playlist there as well. But Brandy Lawson from Fiery FX and I are talking about evolving online. And then Scotty Yang, your co designer mate at Fabric, and I are talking about video. And then Jillian Millam and I are talking about photography. So there's the video lab, the photo lab, and the digital evolution shows that are on Thursdays and Wednesdays on Relentless Talk Radio. There's talking just about that and giving you some good ideas.
Awesome.
So definitely tune into that. But I think that every time we go through a challenge, I don't think I flip and know it. It gives us an opportunity to see where our strengths and our weaknesses are. And either we can bury our head in the sand and just freak out, or we can say, okay, this is an opportunity. One of my nutrition partners used it as an opportunity to redo a lot of their internal technology functions because they're unable to deliver in-person events right now. So as a result, that gives them a lot of time to update and upgrade. And that is actually going to catapult that particular brand even further down the road because we've had the time to take a look at where our technology needs to catch up, right?
Right.
So there's always a silver lining in all of these things. Do you think there's been a silver lining in COVID?
Yeah, for us, for sure. We're about community. We're about reaching back or helping out where we can. And again, stepping back and looking at what we could do with what we had and what we were capable of. We jumped into doing masks, protective equipment for people who couldn't get it. And
do you have your brand inspired masks?
Yeah, totally. So we're mostly.
Where do you buy them?
They're online at ACONAV.com. Here's a couple that are packaged.
Can you do me a favor and put the ACONAV.com? I'll put that right here. That's awesome.
Yeah. So really, again, where you mentioned this kind of in your earlier segment was about, we have to keep business going. It pays our bills. It keeps us alive, and we had to find a way to do this and help at the same time. So it was a bunch of different things that were piling on our plate, and we just had to sort it out.
Again, I'm curious. How many do you have? Different designs do you have? Let me see it.
2 different designs for now. We're going to offer an option.
Come up a little higher.
We're going to offer an option with elastic bands shortly. Ours are all ties. You actually get a little bit of filter with them too, a makeshift filter.
Hey, if you send me one of those, I'll wear them on my Micalizzi rides thing. I just have a girl ride on Saturday, and we're gonna go have coffee outside somewhere.
All right.
And I am insisting on everyone bringing masks. So if you send me a couple of those, I will wear them.
All right.
Yeah, shout out.
Totally.
How's that? The rise of Native American fashion in the fashion industry, are you the only one doing this, or are there other people also saying, hey, wait a minute, we deserve a spot on the runway?
No, I think there's definitely a lot of people doing it. And there's a lot of people before me that have actually, that have made their name big in fashion. And I think the way we went about it was just more in the discipline of the business itself. So it's really what projected us into what we do. Basically, it helped us brand what we were wanting to do, and it really helped. Again, the Phoenix Fashion Week program really helped with this, but getting everything in the right order so that we could present the brand properly with everything we're doing. That was with the culture behind it.
And you know, that's one of the things that I really love about Brian Hill is that, and I resonate with this completely as an artist, as a biker, as this crazy weird conglomeration of things that I am, is that you have to be responsible for your business development, be a business person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being a creative, sometimes we think business is a dirty word, and you're not going to get where you're going if you don't embrace the fact that there's a money component to this and it is attached to business, and that's not dirty.
Right.
We want you to pay your bills. You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell me the story behind this dress. I'm curious.
So this is part of the 2020 collection, and the title for the collection was Pe'echa, which in our language it means "let it rain." And the idea behind all the pieces was to represent the rain in all its different forms. This was part of the Evening Rain series, and really sticking to the colors of the grays, the whites, the purples, the blues that kind of all mesh together. We in our culture, we believe heavily in the rain to bring us, life, to bring us goodness to everything that we do. Again, it is the basis of life. So
I love the makeup in this.
Yeah, the makeup artist Gilbert Tejas, who's part of Phoenix Fashion Week, and Nia DeGroat Henry, they put this whole thing together, and we collaborated with another artist out of Oklahoma, Don Flige. She provided the jewelry for the shoot, and I love the way it all came together. Everything was based on the rain again, the lightning, the rainfall itself. So this gown was basically kind of trying to capture the idea of the rain as it moves across the horizon, with the sun behind it. You can see the color and kind of the gradients of gray and the different colors that kind of blend in with that.
It's really lovely. So if I wanted to purchase your clothing, I'd have to go to ACONAV.com and actually order a custom-made piece. Is that how it works?
Yes. And it's a little bit of a challenge right now for any kind of custom orders because of the social distancing.
Right.
But we do offer the services online where we can chat about it or do work through it to figure out what the best way to get you the dress is. So it's not totally shut down. So one of the things we do offer is a worksheet for the women to kind of measure themselves or get themselves measured so that they can submit those measurements to us, and then we work from that. And again, that's just another challenge we just have to work through.
So Loren, I've been nominated for the Woman of the Year for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Mm-hmm. And between now and next year, I'm going to be doing a lot of motorcycle rides, kind of drumming up business for a big poker run that I'm doing. That's going to be a fundraiser. I'm also doing a project called Micalizzi Gives, where I'll be interviewing the LLS leadership, and that'll be inspiring a blog, and the blog will be inspiring a painting.
Okay.
So the painting will be an auction for the LLS next year. It'll be $5,000 and up. $5,000 starting price on the painting. So I am going to be dressed up. We are going to do that. I'm saying this conclusively. We are going to have an in-person gala next year. This year we did it virtually. And I'm going to be choosing 5 fashion designers to compete for the right to dress me up that night. So I am definitely including you as one of the 5. Now I'm looking for 4 more. So you are number 1. Okay.
Awesome.
Number 1, and they'll be choosing 4 more designers, and we'll be talking kind of after Christmas about what that looks like.
Sure.
And possibly getting drawings together and doing some interviews. But I definitely love your work. I love what you stand for. Your mission and your why is in alignment with my everything, and so awesome. I really dig that. Anything I can do to support you in the future, please let me know.
Will do. Thanks.
I've already told you privately, if you need any models, I'll step in. If you want like an old lady, an old lady on the stage.
No thing.
So people can go to ACONAV.com. Is there any shows coming up at Fabric that you think that might be a good thing for people to attend? We know that things are kind of like up in the air right now, but is there anything planned in the future?
That we're trying to work through the program. We're still actually a part of that program, which is, I think, getting extended through the end of the year. And there is a end of the program show that we get to showcase what we've, produced as part of the production, the production services that they're providing us. So that's still in the plans, and it might be until December, maybe even until next year. For now, a lot of things
make sure I get an invite in advance so I can. I'm going to get an invite anyway through the Fabric folks, but just make sure you let me know what's happening with you so I can shout you out in particular.
Will do.
I was in that show last year. I modeled for Laura Tanzer, and
oh, cool.
Who won last year? I forget her name.
I don't recall.
Menopause brain. It's awful. I can see her little face in front of me. She was so sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
She was from the Refabricate folks, and as soon as I remember, I'll post it in the comments below. That's terrible.
All right, yeah.
So thank you for your time today. I sincerely appreciate it. We're at 3:30.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I can't even believe it. I just looked up and said, "Oh, we're just about on time." I wish you the best of luck. Keep me posted, okay?
Will do. Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Loren.
Bye.
Okay, guys, I'm just super excited about Loren, and I'm going to go ahead and show one of his designs here on the screen. And what an amazing designer, what an amazing human being. So episode 79, folks, we're in the episode 80 is next week, and we'll be talking with 2 more Relentless rock stars I never disclose until the day of. You can always take a look at my personal profile. The cover page always changes the day before, or you can just tune in to take a look at Relentless Talk Radio the day before. You can find out who's going to be on. So thank you very much for hanging in there, and definitely support your local businesses that are able to remain open. And if there's any way that you can support the ones that have been forced to close, please do. Thanks a lot, everybody. Everybody stay safe and wear a mask. Mask up, Arizona. Take care.